You remember Charles Koch, one of the Koch brothers, the closest thing that we have in the modern day to something like Lex Luthor, the guy that most Democrats used to think had a bad influence on elections because of all the money he poured in attempting to control it, until half of the libs in the country decided that maybe money in politics isn't the worst thing in the world? Well, he came clear recently on who he thinks shouldn't be president, and you'll be surprised to find out he doesn't necessarily think that all the Democrats are unqualified. He had this to say about Hillary Clinton. When asked if Hillary Clinton would be a better president than the Republicans currently running, he said, "It's possible. It's possible." It shouldn't even be possible for him to say that about the person who might be the Democratic nominee, and yet, apparently anything is possible these days. And then he threw this in, and I have to imagine that it's some kind of joke. He said, if he could support Clinton over the Republicans, he said he would have to believe her actions would be quite different from her rhetoric. Let me put it that way. And let me put it this way. I think that you're joking there, because I can very easily believe that her actions will be different than her rhetoric. That's pretty much the one thing that has stayed constant throughout her career. And so here we have Charles Koch, one of perhaps the most damaging person to America and its democracy over at least the last 10 years, aside from maybe Dick Cheney, something like that, saying that Hillary Clinton might not be that bad of a candidate for him, that it might be better overall than having either Donald Trump or Ted Cruz, two of, if screwball, still the most conservative candidates for the Republican nomination that we've had in my lifetime, and he thinks that the supposedly progressive who gets things done would in fact be better. So is he actually right? I mean, he long-term is worried about his profits overall, his corporate profits, protecting, making sure the taxes don't go up and all of that. In the short term, though, he wants to make sure that he can continue to pour as much money as he wants into the election. I mean, look at the election we're in right now. Him and his pyramid scheme of cronies are going to assemble something like $900 million in an attempt to buy American democracy, and he wants to protect that. So, is Hillary Clinton the right person for him? Well, she says that she's going to overturn Citizens United. Is she going to make that a litmus test? She's never committed to that. She's had the opportunity. Bernie Sanders has said that he will make that a litmus test for his nominees for the Supreme Court. And look at how she has raised her money. If Citizens United didn't exist, if super PACs could not accept unlimited amounts of money, if we had actual regulations on the way that we finance our elections, Hillary Clinton wouldn't have $2 to rub together. Maybe she'd have the money that Bernie Sanders activists threw at her car recently in LA. She'd have that money. Aside from that, she'd be dead broke. Why the hell would she disarm herself? And understand that since she will be unwilling to do that, since she won't even do it in the Democratic primary so far, in not disarming herself, she will not disarm Charles Koch, which is perhaps more important than any other policy area where he is concerned, where he and others like him, the 1%, the corporate heads of this country, they want to protect their ability to continue to buy democracy. And she very well might be that person. Now look, in the long run, would Ted Cruz get rid of money in politics? No. Would Donald Trump get rid of money in politics? No. He says that he would be against it. I find it very hard to believe that he would be. But then you realize that this isn't just about campaign finance. It's not just about taxes. Because look, she would probably have a more progressive tax policy than a Ted Cruz or a Donald Trump. Isn't that amazing? Isn't she merciful? It's about something else. Understand that he is big into the energy sector. He doesn't want regulations on the way that he generates energy, the way that he sells the energy that he generates. He obviously wants no further regulations on fracking. Now, she says that she will make some incremental additional regulations on fracking, but all the while she has been defending the practice. As Secretary of State, she sold it all over the globe, encouraging companies to do this, presumably so that American fracking companies can make money abroad, which I don't give a fuck about. I don't care if they all go under. We need to transition fast. I would say let's give them a little bit of money so they can transition from fracking and other forms of highly polluting energy generation to something like solar energy, some other renewable clean form of energy, and then they can make as much money as they want for the rest of time off of that. And I will clap for them as they do it. But right now, she is the pro-fracking candidate. She's made that very clear in all of the debates that we've had so far. And so when you combine her approach to corporations generally, to campaign finance specifically, and especially to fracking, is it any wonder that Charles Koch doesn't find the idea of a Hillary Clinton presidency to be all that scary a thing? In some policies, sure, Trump would be far better for him, but Trump is also a wild card. And I find Trump to be far scarier for about 30 different reasons, but I'm not purely interested in protecting my profits going into the future. Charles Koch has much more targeted interests. So let me know what you think about this. Let me know what you think about Charles Koch and potentially the candidate that he might champion once we get to the general election.